5 at 7 p.m. This meeting is being held on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis. We extend our gratitude to those who came before us and have called this ancestral land home for generations. We respect and honor the treaties, reaffirm our relationships with one another, and move forward together in the spirit of truth, reconciliation, and collaboration. Call to order at 7 p.m. That the agenda for the February 24th, 2025 meeting be approved as amended and attached to form part of the said minutes. The additions are 9.2.5, pool water slide stair treads, and 14.1, mayor travel, Suncrest College showcase presentation. Councilor Blair. And anything else you need to add?
Nothing else from administration.
And council, is there anything to add for you guys? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Declaration of conflict of interest. Do we have any tonight? Okay. If you missed it and it comes up, just let us know. That the minutes of the February 10th, 2025 regular meeting of council be approved as presented. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Were there any errors or omissions? All those in favor? It's carried. That the RCMP report for the month of January 2025 be received and filed. And with that, we will open up the floor.
Everybody got the minutes or the numbers for the month of January? Okay, perfect. Nothing really jumps out, nothing really major to be concerned about or anything like that. We did have quite the influx of prisoners for this last month. Usually coming in the morning, like a few weekends ago, we had 12 people in cells in the morning. Lots of guys have been getting out, getting guys on outstanding warrants and some breaches and getting people that should be out on the street, off the street. So, but yeah, there's been an influx of, there has been a morning where I haven't seen one or two people that we've had to deal with in court out. So, other than that, just kind of totality for the whole area. We did have a couple break-ins at a people's office in the rural areas. There was a media release done up on that for a little while. I don't know if anybody had seen that, but I'm feeding out and picked up on it. Other than that, it's coming down to the end of our fiscal year, so I'll be reaching out to you guys either probably more than likely with the email with, like I said at the beginning when I first got here, with what I want to see for the new fiscal year. A letter basically asking for your guys' input of what we should be focusing on. 90% of the time, it's traffic, drugs, prolific offenders, visibility in schools, that kind of stuff. So, but I'll be sending that out to you here probably within the next month or so. And then along with the individual stats just for Nipawin, probably April 1st type of deal. I'll get out to you guys know exactly what the year was like just for the town of Nipawin. Other stuff we focus on, had a lot of increase in the ride-along program, which is lots of applicants from the area, which is nice to see. Again, I invite if any of the council or mayor want to come out and see what the guys do on a night shift. More than welcome. Some couple pieces of paper you have to fill out, and definitely come out for an evening and see what we deal with on a daily basis. Other than that, if anybody has any questions for me or comments, concerns, I foresee with the warmer weather starting to peak up that our calls will increase. It's just the way it is. The calls did spike a little bit with the cold because everybody has to stay inside the house and start to get at each other's nerves a little bit. So we always see a spike around that during the cold, but nothing that wasn't manageable. We're still sitting at a fully staffed attachment here, which is good. It ebbs and flows with some injuries and stuff like that, but all our positions are filled, which is one of the few places in the province.
Go ahead.
What would some of the stuff that would fall under other? Because that number's high.
Right, so other is, it's anything else that basically does not fall into the category. So for criminal code, the criminal code has 900 and some sections of the criminal code. So we're just touching on 9 of them. So I mean, for instance, for sure. Positive servants, breach of peace is on there, fraud, some of the harassing communications, some of the other stuff, frauds, that there's more fraud, like lots of the like the telemarketer scam stuff. We get lots of those complaints. You know, somebody's phoning for the biggest one at one point was like the STARS air ambulance. Somebody's phoning trying to get money out of somebody. So it's like telecommunications fraud. We get lots of those, you know, 7, 8, sometimes 10 of those a day. Where people will phone in and say, hey, listen, somebody tried to defraud. Well, did you exchange any information? No, I just hung up. Okay, perfect. We document the file for that kind of stuff. So where it's not encompassed, there's where it doesn't encompass underneath the fraud or where money was exchanged, but we still want to show that, hey, this can't get resources, that this is becoming a problem. Would fall underneath there. So yeah, and that's just one example of what kind of comes up. Same with the traffic. There's more than just the Traffic Safety Act, motor vehicle collisions. You know, like liquor tickets would you know fall underneath that other because it's not underneath a separate category. Any assistance files that we happen to assist general public, assist another organization, you know, assist another law enforcement agency, stuff like that would fall underneath that. So not just criminal code, but just stuff we did helping out EMS if they need to find somebody. Or helping transport or helping get into a house for somebody that falls under that other. So that falls any other calls for service that we deal with.
Do we have any other questions? I just had one under traffic. We had 250 Traffic Safety Act calls there. Is that, it seems a little high compared to normal?
That's not just calls, but that's also ticket issues.
Yeah.
So, and that's for the whole area. So in the last little bit, we've had a traffic member living now in the area. So they're policing the area a lot more. I know that Melfort Traffic Services and Prince Albert Traffic Services has been in the area quite a bit. I know also with all the winter carnivals that are going on up to like Pelican Narrows, Sandy Bay, Creighton, up that way, the Traffic Services has been working to Hanson Lake Highway, which is part of our area. So any stats that they get fall underneath our area, and that's how it all encompasses. So that's not just our guys doing it, it's the entirety of Traffic Services also in the area.
Any other questions or comments? Well, thank you very much for continuing to do your hard work for us.
And if anybody has any questions, again, give me a call at the office, send me an email, give me a call myself. It should be on my business card. I've gotten a few more. I can leave with you guys if you want.
Yeah.
Well, I got right now. I'll pass them out to whoever wants. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, just reach out and I'll see if I can address them. And if you want to have a meeting or anything else, just give me a date and I can make arrangements to have that. So.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
All right. So that's the report. All those in favor? That's carried. That the financial statements for the period ending January 31st, 2025 be approved as presented. And does Maria have anything to add?
No.
Or anything to cover in there? Okay, do we have any questions? Okay, all those in favor? That the financial reports for February 24th, 2025 be approved as presented. Blair. And anything you want to touch on in there, Maria, in this one?
No, I just would like to make a comment, I guess, that it really is nice having the EFT program set up. I chance to sign tonight or maybe
I agree. Do we have any questions or comments on the report? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. That the reports of senior administrative officials recorded as items 9.1 to 9.2.4 be received and filed.
So that should be in 5 now, but added
Oh,
the
right.
water slide.
That's correct. 9.2.5. And Councillor Fast. Right, so we will start with the Operations and Engineering Services Department.
That's just all the reports, then these are the
Oh,
department.
sorry. You're right. We changed this up and it's set me off. Okay, all those in favor? That the department monthly reports be received and filed. Now we'll go on to the reports. And Jamie, you're first up.
I really got nothing else to add to that. It's the budget month and nothing really to report.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Jamie? All right, thank you, Jamie. The next thing is the environmental compliance audit.
That's part of Jamie's
Oh,
report.
Okay, I just saw that it had.
Yeah,
here.
that's the exception.
I can just touch base on this one if you'd like.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so we're just picked, our community is picked for an audit through the government and water security agencies, so I'm just working with them. I sent in the required information that they've requested so far, and we're just waiting for an announcement. That's actually up in that, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so that takes us down to community services and Derek.
I think I got just about everything in the report. The only thing, I guess, on Friday, I got an email that said the town app is approved in Google. It should be approved in Apple in the next 10 days. So I guess it's 10 days for each approval, not like I said last time, it was 10 days. Yeah, next 20. But one is approved. If you have an Android, you can look up nipwin.com and see the app. So it is there. I haven't opened it in my phone. See, I have some pictures.
Awesome. Be interesting to see that roll out, see what the community does with it. Any other?
Is there a formal plan like for the rollout of the app or?
Not really. Previous council wasn't as excited as you guys about the app, so it was kind of just one of those things that was, it's very similar to the website.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, there would have to be some thought put into it for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Derek. So there is a land planning report. I know Jeff is not at the meeting here tonight, but everybody's taken a chance to look at it. Are there any questions you want to forward on to Jeff?
Derek can probably answer any questions too as well.
It looks pretty straightforward, so we'll move on from that one. And corporate services. Maria.
Thank you. The only thing I wanted to really highlight was the reimbursement from the RM of Nipawin for the Hillport donation. So for those of you that weren't here when this was done, we agreed to cover a fair portion of the remaining outstanding funds that needed to be collected for completion of the heliport back at the end of 2024. And once the donations were received to cover that payment for the municipalities that contributed, then they were given a reimbursement. And so that reimbursement was made and money in the bank and also put back to the reserve that it was taken from.
Don't know what we're gonna do when that's all done and we don't talk about it anymore. It just, it's there and being used. Any other questions for Maria? All right, those are the reports. All those in favor? Carried. That council hereby approves the purchase of 15 leather office chairs, Interion model T9F 248626 from Global Industrial for $6,417.92, shipping included, plus GST as recommended by the GM of Corporate Services. Mr. Watts. Did you want to speak to that a little bit, Maria?
I can, it's pretty straightforward. We were in the looking for some chairs, trying to find sort of the best deal with the quality. We didn't really want to find something that was bonded and was going to fall apart in the coming years. But in looking, we discovered the company that we're recommending is a part of the Kinetic GPO buying group through SUMA. And so that gives us an additional discount for them. So that was just interesting.
Perfect. Any questions or comments?
What is the plan with the existing 15 chairs that are sitting in here?
They will be dispersed throughout the business, throughout the organization. Sorry.
So people, like employees within here, will get the opportunity to upgrade their chairs if they want of these or something, or?
Some of them, yeah, the landfill will need chairs with their new office building. Some of the public works at the shop, their chairs are even older and in worse shape. So some of them will go there. I think Paul has spoken for a few at the fire hall. So, yeah.
Continue to use them. Sounds good.
And there's a couple though that will not.
Yeah, they need to go get throw in the garbage. If it's not safe, then it's fine.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. All those in favor? That's carried. The council hereby sets the price per yard for crushed asphalt at $30 as recommended by the GM of Operations and Engineering. Jamie.
Yes, so this is a byproduct after we got our landfill decommissioning. A crusher come in and crushed a bunch of material for us, concrete and asphalt. We used a lot of it in the new laydown area, concrete and asphalt, but we have an additional amount to sell. We're gonna keep a little bit for some projects here in town, but I'd like to sell a majority of it. Anywhere between probably $25,000 to $40,000 we have sitting stockpiled out to landfill. So I've been digging around at prices, and Moose Jaw was really the only. There's a few, but Moose Jaw was one, and they're charging 28. So, and that was in I think in 21. So I bumped it up a few bucks with the cost and sold for $30 a year.
Do you have any questions or comments? All right, all those in favor? Carried. The council hereby awards the 60 by 40 landfill shop building to Melview Metal for the quoted amount of $98,013.43 plus GST as recommended by the GM of Operations and Engineering, with 90,000 to come from GL account capital 441410820, and that the additional amount of $8,013.43 to complete the project be taken out of GL account landfill reserve 310100509. Councilor Watts. And Jamie.
Yeah, so we put this on SAS tenders with the closing date of February 18th at noon. We received 4 bids. They range from 410,000 to 98,000. So a couple of these, Contact and Camberville, they come in with like way more than what we were asking for as well, but I still kind of combed through it, and the cost of for the metal building and things like that is still Melview metal is by far cheaper. And yeah, it comes with everything you need. Why I'm $8,000 more than what I had in budget is I added another shop door to the project. It's just best to have one on each end, just in case a piece of equipment breaks down, or you can at least get it out of the shop. So, or another piece. So, yeah, that's.
Any questions or comments for Jamie?
Well, it's such a wide range of quotes there. Like, are they apples to apples, or are they like we got 98,000 for one and 410 for another? Like, what degree of completion?
They had like concrete flooring and like concrete and stuff that wasn't even on the RFP. They just added it, and then they're saying, I was talking with Camberville today. Yeah, they said that they couldn't touch a building for under $200,000. Well, Bellevue Metal, I can get it for 60.
But that's what I mean. We don't know what you were asking for. Like, did we see the RFP, or are we like, can we see the RFP? Or?
Yeah, you should have. It's on SAS tenders.
Yeah. I don't know if I had my head on the sound, but this is the first time I've seen this. Like, this. There's such a wide. Like, what are we approving?
Well, you're getting exactly what it says here. A 60 by 40 building with 2 20 by 14 overhead doors, 1 commercial man door, 2 3/4 horsepower openers, 18. It's going to be on screw pals with caps because it's just going to be on concrete wall, crushed asphalt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just for storage for our equipment, the 3 pieces of equipment.
There's no power, or
Well, there's going to be power run to it, but that's going to go when we do the decommit or the next stage of our office building and stuff like that.
some of these quotes have power in it. So,
But the power's already run at the landfill. I just got it connected to the building.
but the building isn't wired.
But it's not going to have much for wiring, just maybe a couple lights and then garage doors. We might, yeah, that's the only thing that's going to have. And again, it's just for storage.
Cold storage.
Do we have any other questions on this?
Only one other thing. So what is going to be for the ground structure of it is going to be that crushed asphalt? So there's no cost associated with any of the flooring in there then?
No.
Okay.
That was all completed when we did the decommissioning. They put in crushed, I think they put in 24 inches of crushed concrete, and then about a 10-inch crushed asphalt top.
So there shouldn't be any like after costs above this. Like, I think maybe he's looking at this like, holy man, what are they pricing differently? Because it is a huge difference.
Yeah.
400%.
We
So-
did that a lot.
So at least this way, it's like this price, there's nothing that they're leaving out that is going to be brought to the table in
No.
4 months that it's like, oh, now we need to do this. That's
No.
okay.
Joyce?
I just had a question. Is it going over an existing covered cell? Is that what?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay,
It's
it's
right
just some
in the new area.
Okay.
And if you take a look at Core Rock, they're only $7,000 difference, right? Because they followed actually what the RFP was requesting. And the other ones, they gave all the bells and whistles, which. we didn't make.
Yeah, I don't get it. That's
Why would they?
They were
We get-
hoping,
we get
hoping to
that
make
a lot.
extra money.
I can't speak to that. So when we do a request for proposals, an RFP, then they can give us additional. If we want exactly one thing, we would put out a request for tenders, and then we're required to choose either the lowest or the highest, depending on the project. But when you issue a request for proposals, they can add the additional bells and whistles, and they could vote on that.
The quotes are attached, if you like.
Yeah, I've seen the quotes there. That's, so I asked, there's some stuff there that,
Yeah.
like if it's just a cold storage shed, like I say, we didn't see I didn't see the RFP here, didn't know to look for one. Or what to look for. So now that I see this, I say, holy, somebody's gonna build a building for 98,000, but somebody else is gonna build one for 410. So what do we need? What are we asking for? One with a cement floor and heat and wiring, or you're just asking for cold storage? And you just answered that question.
So that was a tender, then Jamie, everything was in the parameters, this was on SAS tenders, it was a tender?
Well, it was a proposal.
Request for
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's something that I get kind of confused on. A lot of the process that the town has for that, to me, if I'll use the simplest form period, I need a half ton. 25 half ton bare bones. I need to go to Murray Dunn, or I need to go to Fun Group. That's it. There's no bells and whistles, nothing. So for me, that's a tender. That's what it is. It's just this truck. This kind of leaves everything wide open. Like, I mean, these people are giving you a Cadillac and these other people are giving you bare bones. So I would, well, I don't know. When we do even, I guess I'm in conflict or whatever, even demolition tenders, they're estimates. Well, I can estimate that it's gonna take me 10 hours and come in with 50, and there's nothing the town can do about that. So it'd be nice if it was clear cut, just it's a tender period, that's it. This is what I want. I want this building 40 by 60, 2 doors, that's it. And if that's what was in there, that's great.
Yeah.
So, but if it's something that they go, well, we want a 40 by 60 building done, some of these guys are gonna give you the highest of high end, everything finished up.
Yeah.
So
Now,
I'm just saying that it's a lot of the tenders that the town put out, or that they do put out, are not straightforward and not clear and defined. So I never looked at the tender to.
So I can send it to you.
Well, it doesn't, to me, it's, if you're tendering, you're tendering. I don't know if you can always refuse.
Request for proposal is almost developing a project.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where I'm going with that. That's exactly it. It's, you're not giving, if that's the case, you're not giving a definite or a defined product or thing. So that's where I'm going with it. Unless you had, I just want the 2 doors, a 40 by 60 middle building. That's it. That's all.
Well, I had that, but then with an RFP, they might come at me and say, actually, that we have a wood building that's a
Okay.
little cheaper than the metal one.
Okay.
So that's kind of why I went with the proposal, just to have that option. And I talked to every single one of these people on the phone and told them exactly what I wanted for it. So they just, I guess it's more just in case.
Yeah, oh, no, that's fine. It gives me some clarity. That's all. So.
Yeah.
And with a request for tender, we're required to accept the lowest price. Request for proposals, we can take a a different option if they say, well, actually, like Jamie had mentioned, the wood versus the metal, or the local company versus a company from Saskatoon. Whereas with a request for tenders, we are committed to the lowest price.
Okay.
So that is one downfall on a request for tenders. But like for the demolition tenders, we can absolutely say this is exactly what we want. And with the SCBA tender that we have, we know exactly what we need.
Mhm.
And we can't deviate from that. So that's a request for tenders. And then we'll take the lowest tender. They can't say, well, actually, this one would be better because we know what we're required to have.
Well, that gives me some clarity. It's, I could say it's like the half ton. The one guy goes and puts a high end half ton and the other guy just puts in the bare bones minimum, so.
When we issue the request, we tell the minimums that we need.
Okay, no, that's. It's just to clear things up in my mind, that's all.
Me too. The way she said it, I wouldn't have said it quite like that.
Especially outside, just you and I.
Do we have any other questions then for Jamie? All right, all those in favor? Opposed? The council hereby approves the community investment incentive policy as presented, and that administration be authorized to implement the program as outlined. Councilor Watts. Who's going to speak to this one?
Yep, I'll just mention that this did go through the governance standing committee for discussion, and then now it's coming here with some of the recommendations. I'll let Derek explain.
I think it's been through governance a couple times, actually.
Mm-hmm.
With it, I fixed up everything. I don't know, the big one was the closed in state, or that I had 25%. That 25% is not clarifiable, I guess, type thing. So we went to a closed in state, then you can have access to your dollars. I added the reserve that will go through. Of course, we'll have to come up with the process and the procedures, so it won't be an immediate implementation. Once the procedures in place to get it going. I don't think I'm missing anything on there. If anybody has any questions.
You have any questions?
Do you have an expected uptake of the program or projected, any idea what you think it will?
No, not. It's a change and it's new and
Yeah.
In Saskatoon, the uptake was great. PA and Moose Jaw are both looking at it because of Saskatoon's success. Mooseman has done it with the success, I guess, like not the boom maybe that they thought, but with some, so.
I can say I know we have at least 2 developers that have requested a program like similar to this. So 2 that stand out to me for sure that this is what they were looking for when they came to us.
I just wanted to comment that I think it's a great idea. Because I think going back a few years, people were always asking, what will you give us? You're always scrambling. Well, now it's right there. Yeah, administration can actually do the work before they bring it to us.
And I would just like to add a comment as well, that I was really excited to see that that Nipawin is a leader in this kind of initiative, and that we're not waiting to see what our neighbors are doing, but that we're setting, what could be really exciting for our community. So good job.
Do we have any other questions or comments? I know at the governance meetings and stuff, that was the idea, is bring something new to the table, so.
Well, it's kind of like the old saying, if you're a smoker and you quit smoking, you don't notice the money in your bank account. So when you get 4 years tax free, you don't really notice it. But if they're handing you a check You do notice that. It changes the mentality. The value is the same, the delivery is different, and that's a big deal for people. So
Everybody likes that big fat check.
exactly. We all do.
I like the idea that we might get some development.
Yes.
If we're just sitting on it, we're not making any
Well,
money.
Yeah.
So we have lots of empty lots in town. Is there incentives tied in with this incentive?
Building.
There is current incentives that ultimately, I think after this one was approved, we were gonna review and see which ones are still beneficial. And try to remove, because I don't think we wanna be overloaded with incentives where people have to make choices. There is a pretty good one with infill lots right now. To where if you build in a certain amount of time frame, you get the lot, end up paying $5,000 for the lot and that's it. And then but I think the tax abatement goes on with that one too. I'm not 100% sure on that. So yeah, there would be a complete review of the rest of the incentive policies, just because I don't think that it's right to have two, like, it's good to have choices, but it's not good to have confusion, I guess would be.
Mhm.
Too many choices takes too long. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. That council hereby authorizes administration to hire Long Welding and Machine to build new aluminum stringers for the water slide stair treads at an amount of $10,600 plus GST, as recommended by the GM of Leisure Services, with funding to come from the pool capital budget 6461750820, and that council waive the applicable provisions of the procurement policy in this instance.
I'm like, I was
Blair.
sorry, Chelsea.
Not all at once, guys. And Chelsea?
Sure, thank you. This was a last minute addition, just because we were waiting on the quotes to come in. And we want to get them going on the stringers as quickly as possible, because summer will be here before we know it. We need to replace the stringers on the waterside tower. When we built the pool, they were built with steel stringers, which is fine, but they weren't powder coated or anything, so they were subjected to the elements and rusted quite quickly. We did, a couple years after opening, we took them off and cleaned them up and did powder coat them. But that only lasted for a while, because once the rusting process starts, it's kind of hard to stop it. So we received quotes, or we asked for quotes for the steel stringers again, but we would powder coat them. The price we got was not powder coated. And then we also asked for aluminum stringers, and those came in less than the steel ones. We feel like they will hold up better. So we're recommending to proceed with the aluminum stringers from Long.
Do we have any questions for Chelsea?
Not so much a question, but aluminum can be powder coated. I know a guy.
Right.
So, yeah, and I was gonna ask, are we still coating the aluminum, or is it gonna be raw?
It was going to be raw. We understood that that would be fine.
Aluminum does oxidize.
Yeah, it's especially with chlorine in the area, like it's.
Okay.
It's gonna react the same as the steel did.
Okay.
It's gonna turn black, and hands and feet are gonna be black, and,
But they're underneath.
oh, these are just the supports.
These are
stringers.
the stringers, yeah. So the stairs are like composite decking.
Yep.
So if we should, like, if it's recommended to powder coat them, we will do that, and we can do that in-house, like that's something that we can. Or hire out.
My experience with aluminum is, especially over time, it'll oxidize and almost as fast as steel in some instances, especially like Les mentioned with the chemicals that are around.
Okay.
You said we could maybe do some of that in-house.
Mhm.
Yeah, that might if we can do it in-house and it saves us a little bit and it makes them last a bit longer.
It'll last longer and it'll be nicer,
Sure.
more appealing.
We plan to do, if we originally were going with steel until the aluminum came back less. We were planning to powder coat them in-house.
Okay.
So,
So the aluminum came back cheaper than the steel.
yes,
That's surprising.
which the one company that did quote said, well, I don't know why you want to quote on aluminum, it's gonna be way more. And then he called me and said, actually, it's less. So, yeah.
Is that tariffs
Yes,
coming
yeah,
into play?
that seems to make sense.
Both of them are subject to increase, subject to tariffs. But
We have
the
the
aluminum
aluminum though.
yeah. Might have something to do with it. But we'll definitely look at the option of powder coating them then.
But for the initial purchase and stuff. Kind of makes sense still. Any other questions or comments? Do you think we're at, with some of the stuff unknown, do you think we can make a solid decision? Are you concerned?
I'm concerned, yeah, because I can't believe the aluminum's cheaper.
However, they're now bound by their price. And they
Yeah.
came in at aluminum.
I suppose it.
So I can, sorry, if I just can find it. I can tell you what they, because they both came in less for the aluminum.
They both did?
Sorry, no, the one came in more for aluminum, one came in less for aluminum. So,
Somebody's got a better supplier.
yeah,
Yeah,
No, for
This material that's been sitting available for a while at a cheaper price.
so I don't know, I just quoted aluminum and steel, one came in less,
Yeah.
and within budget.
Okay. No, I still think we're in a position we can go on this, so. We're gonna purchase some aluminum. All those in favor? That's good.
it is.
I've never seen a cheaper, so we'll take it.
Yeah, the number's right there.
All right. That the reports of committees and boards recorded as items 11.1 be received and filed. Vic. Everybody had a chance to take a peek at that. Any questions for the museum? All those in favor? That's carried. That council hereby authorizes Mayor Zacharias to attend the Suncrest Showcase presentation being held in Melfort, Saskatchewan, Tuesday, February 25th, 2025, with mileage and out-of-pocket expenses to be reimbursed in accordance with current policy. Councilor Blair. So I guess I will speak to this. Suncrest reached out to me. They're doing a program. I'll just pull up the file. I thought I had it open. So it's the Bridging Leadership, like a mini conference. There's going to be a couple of presentations put on. It will highlight Suncrest's role on local economic and social development, some of their key programs that have had success and some initiatives they're working on, future proofing, as well as opportunities for collaboration. And this is for Melfort and Nipawin. They're doing a separate one down in Yorkton as well, but this one just obviously makes a little more sense for us to be in attendance. So that's basically it. Oh, and there's a tour of the campus as well. Any questions? All those in favor? It's carried. All right, no bylaws today. So we're down to the round table. And Kylie, why don't we start with you today?
I haven't done very much in the last 2 weeks. I did get an email though that our first library committee meeting is this Wednesday, so I will find out how that is. And I attended that comedy show on Saturday. It was fantastic. Had lots of laughs. Got out of the house after being cooped up for 10 days. But that's all I've done and work.
Thank you. Les?
It's been pretty uneventful for us as well. Just busy dealing with the weather and trying to keep vehicles running and keep business running. Council wise, haven't really done much in this last couple of weeks. Lots of interaction with the public. Obviously some issues, and but yeah, I guess that's an ongoing thing that'll always continue. But haven't done anything earth shattering. I didn't win a lottery or nothing.
Yeah. Thank you. Stacy?
Well, there is going to be a park meeting on Wednesday, finally. And I did attend the comedy night and it was really good. Short of that, we just tried to stay warm.
I think we all had that same problem in the last couple of weeks. So myself, I wasn't too slow. February 12th, we had the Fire Partners meeting. It was probably the fastest Fire Partners meeting we've ever had because Paul wasn't there.
He's probably putting out a fire.
Yeah, he was working pretty hard that day, so we'll forgive him for that. There was some discussion actually regarding some motor vehicle collision changes coming down from the provincial government. So the big thing there is it's going to change who gets dispatched to these accidents. And it'll be based on who's the most capable to be able to handle them in terms of jaws of life and things like that. So we're likely to see an increase in those calls in our area because we are the most adept to handle them. Discussion regarding our tanker 1 is going to be coming up for replacement here soon. So big expenditure for budget in the future. And then there was our general discussion regarding the 2025 budget and the reports. On February 13th, I attended a virtual SUMA summit. There was a presentation by the SUMAsure CEO, Tanya Wendling. That's our insurance that we have. There was also a short presentation by Kinetic GPO. So that's a purchasing group where there's multiple members, as Maria alluded to. One of our purchases was through that. And then the main part of the presentation was Doug Griffiths, and he did a presentation on 13 ways to kill your community. He's the author of that book. I won't cover everything he talked about, but there's a few chapters in there. The first one I really caught on was chapter 2, don't attract new businesses. Competition is good. So definitely we're on the right step there. Chapter 3, this one was interesting. It says to ignore your youth is a good way to kill your community. So don't stop them from leaving. Give your young people a reason to come home, was one of his comments there. And don't just invite them in. Listen to their problems and ask them for solutions. What do they need? Chapter 5, this one's always been pretty close to me, is if you shop elsewhere, you will kill your community. So help businesses, give people a reason to shop local, and your chamber of commerce is key. And I know Derek's had a great relationship working with Lisa over at the chamber, so we're on the right track there. Chapter 6 is don't paint. So what he said to do is Google your town and use the images tab. The first 10 pictures you see are what other people see in your community. And I'll comment there that Tourism Nipawin is doing a great job because there's lots of good pictures pop up there for us. So we're seeing a lot of good there. We did have breakout sessions as well. And the major concerns for our area was doctor retention and lack of hospital services in some of our communities. Then there was talk about justice system reform and how that's needed. And the Nipawin resolution for funding assistance on the dilapidated buildings was discussed briefly. And then the last thing I'll say is just a congratulations to the mayor of Tisdale, Roy Skoglund. He was elected to be our Summa Caucus representative for our area. Oh, okay, on February 19th, I did a tri-town meeting. That's with the mayors of Tisdale and Melfort. All three communities are facing some expensive upgrades to buildings. So Melfort is looking at their palace. They estimate will be needing $20 to $25 million in work. And their post office, their heritage building, they're looking at about $10 million in that building as well. Tisdale, their municipal office, they're looking at $12 to $14 million. They're actually not currently using that building, unfortunately. Another discussion that came up that I just kind of thought was interesting was Melfort has a 50-50 partnership with their museum. So the position is also utilized as their cultural coordinator. And it's been a really good partnership for their community and has helped them with their arts and culture programs within the community. And that in turn has made it easier for them to retain some of their doctors and nurses. Something that's been fairly common is with some of our doctors coming in is they want more arts and culture in the communities they stay in. So definitely be something for us to consider potentially for improvements. Tisdale is considering a partnership with Arctic Gateways surrounding potentially purchasing a rail line from Tisdale to the Arctic Gateways main line in Manitoba, which is the rail line that goes north to the Port of Churchill. Seems like a pretty lofty goal, but that's something they're working on. And Tisdale is also considering the same as us with their boundary expansion, looking to expand and plan ahead for the future. So, and those were the only meetings I had. They were just lots to discuss. So, and Joyce.
Well, I attended the Twin Lakes meeting on the 9th, I think it was the 19th last week. And we did discuss the heliport, of course. There is some movement to work with the MLA, and working with CHA as well to get it going. Seems to be some hesitance at the hospital to get started. And not council wise, but I got updated on the tax rules that are coming up. And
Okay.
Thank
you, Joyce. Lisa.
I was fortunate enough to escape some of the deep freeze. So I missed previous council meeting, was on vacation, and then I came home from vacation at minus 41 degrees at 1 a.m. to a dead truck battery. So that was quite fun, quite welcome back. I attended the housing fundraiser coming on Saturday, and that's it.
Thank you guys very much. And we don't have any public forum today, so that'll be the end. The regular council meeting of February 24th, 2025 be closed with Mayor Zacharias in the chair pursuant to section 120(2)(a) of the Municipalities Act and citing exemptions contained in the Local Authority Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act under section 16, advice from officials, section 17, economic and other interests, and section 21, solicitor client privilege at 7:54 p.m. Councilor Blair.